Hey everyone, it's Jorik. Welcome back. Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Today I want to talk a little bit about not focusing so much on lifestyle when you move to another country, but daily life. And yes, daily life is a part of a lifestyle, but hopefully you understand where I'm going with this video is what are the day-to-day things that go on in a particular country that might drive you nuts and drive you away from that country. And I'm going to start the video because I talked about this recently, and it still blows my mind that people move to countries without ever doing a scouting trip or they went there for a week vacation. This is a good place. I think we can live here. And then they do it. There are still people that don't even do that. They watch some videos and, hey, gee, hun, it looks great over in so-and-so country. Let's go move there. It happens. It happens, believe me. I get messages from people, mostly because it didn't work out the way they somehow in their mind thought it was going to be. Well, duh, you didn't spend any time there. But it happens. So where I'm going with this is partly because I still get those messages from people that move. We moved to X country and it didn't meet our satisfaction or didn't meet our expectations, and we didn't like this, and this. How much time did you spend there? 7 days. Okay. How much time did you spend there? Never been. This really goes into that, and I want to get your take on this and get your opinions below. But day-to-day life is what you will be living someplace in another country when you're there on a long-term or permanent basis. And those are the things that could be deal breakers. So I want people to think about some of these things ahead of time and do your research, do your homework. It's a do your homework thing. Most of my videos are about doing your homework. And so the first things first, the whole fantasy of how great something's going to be is out there. And I think there's a line from the former boxer Mike Tyson, is that everyone has the best strategy until they get punched in the face. That's not his exact quote, but you get my drift from that. So day-to-day life, bureaucracy. That right there is the number one reason why Portugal became, in many ways, the end-all, be-all paradise for people to move to. The trendiest place on international living and travel and leisure for years. Still shows up on many of your feeds as the top place to go to. Because their bureaucracy, their immigration, getting into the country, all of the things, the steps you had to do were pretty simple and pretty easy, straightforward. And I'll say within a 3-month time frame, the initial card holder getting into the country had a residence permit. And usually within 4 to 6 weeks after that, the spouse or significant other, the rest of the family was able to get in and get their information done. Taxes, straightforward. Just so many things were pretty more streamlined, and then became popular. They put no system in place to help, and now this backlog. So the very thing that made it, I'll say, functional and appealing to people, as now it's like its Achilles heel. It's the thing that's now destroying those dreams for people, and that fantasy, that bubble is getting burst for a lot of people. People are moving to other countries or not considering it because of the bureaucracy itself. And so as you're considering a place to go to, I do think that, thinking past it's popular, it showed up on my feed today as a place. Okay, do the research, do the homework, and find out what is going on in that country. Is it becoming a popular place? And trying to go to the local newspapers. You don't need to know the language. You can always do the Google Translate on your laptop, phone, whatever. Get it translated to your language. Are they doing anything? And the reason I say go to the newspaper, news sites to find out, are those countries dealing with a rise in immigration? And are they handling it properly so that if I don't know, Slovakia is the next best place for everyone to move to, are they handling immigration with the consistent uptick, or are they handling it the way Portugal has, which is do nothing. That's important because that alone will change your perspective on this great lifestyle that you're envisioning versus daily life. It'll drain you. It'll just absolutely drain you. The next thing, this may sound a little hokey, but I think there's something to this. Errands, running errands. How far are things from you? I'll give you our perspective and our first person experience and love to get your comments on this. We moved to Portugal, moved to Lisbon. We were not in the exact city center. We were sort of out a little bit from I'll say the main tourist areas, but still walking distance. We're about a half-hour walk from most of what you would see if you went to Lisbon, Portugal. We didn't have a car. We wanted that. We knew ahead of time from doing scouting trips that we didn't want to have a car and drive in the city and buy a vehicle, new or used, deal with that stuff. Nope. We wanted to walk. We wanted to use the buses, the metro system. We wanted to get accustomed to kind of, I'll say, a more European lifestyle. And I needed to lose weight, needed to get off my butt and walk. So that helped. Need that again, to be honest. So that to me, how far are you from the grocery store? We were a 10-minute walk up the hill to one store, 10-minute walk down the hill to another store. So that depended on, I thought about, okay, what are we buying this week or for the next few days? And if it's heavy stuff, it was the same store, name called Pingo Doce. I would go up because, okay, it's all going to be downhill walk if it was heavy grocery. If it was things like, I don't know, toilet paper and bath soap and lighter vegetable, let's say lettuce and things that were lighter, I'd go to the store that was down because then that way when I walked up to our flat, I didn't have to necessarily be struggling. Those are things to consider. Where do you go for things? Your daily habits. That's why it's so vital that I think you spend time in a country and not a 1-week vacation. You spend a month or months in the particular place or region that you're going to be so that you get some accustomed to the daily life and what errands are like. Where are you going for your prescriptions? Where is the closest hospital if you need services? Things of that nature, and then you start understanding before you move there, what are the things you're going to miss out on? Okay, well, we like this and this. Okay, they don't have that here. Okay, whatever. Work through that. The next thing, which is something I touched on, was transportation. What are you going to have in that new country, and what is that going to look like on a day-to-day life? Are you going to take the bus? Do they have? Assume they have buses and trains. Do they have a metro system, so an underground? Do they have trolleys? Lisbon did. Rental cars. How easy or difficult is that? Bikes. Walking, where your location is, how important is getting out and walking to locations? Or is that how you're going to transport yourself to many places? What does that look like? That's an important thing to consider as you're thinking about where you're going to be. I just talked to somebody a couple of weeks ago, which I think I alluded to on a video, where somebody moved to Portugal, sight unseen, Lisbon, never been. Saw the videos, this was going to be great. We have beautiful vantage points, and they liked some of the restaurants that they were seeing, and there's a lot to do, and kind of a entry point into Europe, and blah, 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 blah. And they sent a message going, hey, we didn't know that, it's so hilly. I mean, our legs are killing us, and, or we're sore all the time from walking up hills and down hills and the sidewalks and the stones. And yeah, I mean, hell, you could have had a 1-day cruise stop, and that 1 day on a cruise probably could have shown you that, hey, it's hilly, based on multiple hills there in the city, for crying out loud. Could have got that. So understanding some of that is very important on the transportation. And then lastly, and this is something that I do assume, because I know this from hearing from you, most people do a deep dive. They do spend more time in a country to get acclimated. So the people that just move on a whim are a very small percentage of people that actually do it. Most people do spend time. And that is what teaches, I think, us and those of you as well, spending time there a couple of weeks, a month, a couple of months in where you're going to set up does, I think, give you a great perspective on the pace of life. That is, I think, something that really hits home, because if you are coming from, let's say, a fast-paced country, you're still coming, regardless of country, you're coming from a workforce. Generally, your working is a faster pace than when you're retired. Often, I think, that's my opinion, that transition can be something. But just understanding what is the pace of life. Do things close in the afternoon? Is there a closure between the lunchtime and the dinner time? What are the hours of places? Things that I guess I've been used to for decades now, having banks open on a Saturday. Not the case in Portugal. Having the bank that we went to, there were some times where it was closed for lunch, or it closed at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Or that's something that took some time getting used to. Okay, so we got to get to the bank early because it closes at a certain time. Just how things operate and work. How do people operate and work? That is I think I saved it to the end, because as much as the bureaucracy is going to kill you, and it's going to be the first thing that you're going to want to have an exit plan for if it gets too ridiculous, understanding the pace of life. Because as you go someplace, it's not up to the country to fit into your lifestyle or how you want to do things. You're going to assimilate into that. And I don't mean the language and things. It's just how the pace of life is, how things are done there, the hours, what's open, what isn't. It may seem like a piddly little thing, but if you have expectations that don't match the way the country operates, you're not going to make it there. One, you have probably no business moving there, but it's going to be frustrating for you, and it shouldn't be. So again, a broken record on spend as much time in the country as you can before you move there, as reasonably and as financially possible. Because again, if it's going to be the country for potentially the rest of your life, I think you want to know as much about the country before you move in and live there. So please give me comments. Let me know what you think about this. I'd love to get your information and your thoughts and wisdom. As always, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your travels.